Hi folks, welcome back and thanks for joining. So today we're going to make another kind of a mold. We're going to make a food safe mold, and we're going to be using gelatin and glycerin, things that you can find at the grocery store and at the pharmacy. We're going to be using just the regular unflavored gelatin and glycerin, and I thought perhaps we might want to add some color to it, so we've got some food color here. Now, because we're going to be making it in small batches and we're going to be putting it on the stove and heating, I'm only going to be using a very small pot. The formula that I give, the ratios that I give, you can make any size that you want. Now, once again, I don't really have any molds per se, but while I was fishing for this, I came across these and I thought, you know what, I'll just use these for molds. Yes, we're going to be doing something just a little bit different that I haven't seen done yet, and that is, folks, we're going to pour a little bit out, and the reason we're going to do that is we're going to peel it off, and this can be used for candy wrappers or anything like that. Now, it will dissolve easily in water, so let's get started. So here's everything that you need to make the basic formula. We have 40 milliliters of glycerin, 40 millimeters of water. That is going to give you a 50-50 ratio, and we're going to put that into the cup. We're going to stir this, and then after that we're going to add one full pack, which is 7 grams of the gelatin. After we add the gelatin, we're going to continue to stir until it's completely dissolved. Put the water in first, then we're going to begin adding the glycerin. Glycerin is very thick stuff, so what I typically do is I will put a little bit of extra in here, and it's a bit of guesswork, but after a while you get used to seeing what settles back down to eyeball. And we're going to begin stirring, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to add this. Let me show you very quickly. This is a quick note. Once you begin stirring the gelatin and water mixture, you'll see how they're not exactly incorporated, and you'll want to continue to stir until it becomes as clear as water, and it's going to take some time, but you continue to stir. Now, heating the water is not really going to help you at that point. This is just cool water. Just keep stirring, and after only 3 or 4 minutes of stirring, you see it is completely incorporated. And it looks just like water now. You don't see any glycerin floating. Now we're ready to add the gelatin. And once we add the gelatin, we can begin heating on a little low to medium. And just dump it in. Now it's going to clump a little bit on you. Just keep stirring until it is all the clumps are gone. And what you'll see form here is a yellowish cloudy mixture. But the reason we're going to heat this is, if you will take note, you see how the gelatin in it is still grainy, and we'll want to heat the mixture until it's no longer grainy, but it's a smooth, consistent mixture. All right. Now, if you notice, I've been using a plastic spoon. Now, this should give you some idea that we're really not getting this mixture very hot at all. We're just warming the water just a bit. And as you can see now, there are some grains that have stuck to the spoon that I could probably work off. But if you'll notice, the mixture itself now is not grainy, and this is ready to go. So we're going to turn off the heat, move it aside, and we're going to have some fun with this. The first thing that I'd like to show you is we're going to pour this out without adding any color to it at all. Now it's cloudy now, but it will dry pretty clear. So I'm just going to pour some out on these plastic plates. I'm using these because they are easy to peel the gelatin glycerin mold off of. I can manipulate this a bit. Just spread it around to thin it out. Now the reason I'm doing this is I wanted to show you folks how to make a candy wrapper or any other kind of sealer for anything that you want to use. Now this will dissolve in your mouth and in warm water very quickly. And all that you will have left, if you eat it, it'll have virtually no taste at all. So we're going to work this just a little bit. And there we are. Okay, I think you get the idea here. And now I'm hoping I have enough left over to pour my cute little measuring spoon mold here. We'll see. Oh, I think I have plenty. I'll even have a little bit of a squeeze out. And there we are. Just a quick note here, folks. As I was setting up to do another batch, I wanted to point out this is the glycerin that's left over from the pour from before, and I'm fairly used to this. There was about 5 milliliters left in there, so for 40 milliliters, if you don't want to spend all time waiting for it to drain, pour 45, and the remaining will be about 5 milliliters. This will help improve your accuracy. Okay, we're going to make another batch, and this time we're going to add a little bit of color, just for fun. But I'm going to mix this up just a little bit differently, in that I am going to pour in the glycerin. But this time, I'm going to add the gelatin with it first, before adding the water. Now, I'd like to oblige you just for a moment to take note. Here's a little drop of the previous mix, and if you'll notice how clear that is. If I pop this off, it's not set yet, but as you can see, it's completely clear. Now, the reason I'm doing it in this procedure, in this order, is so that I spend a little bit less time dealing with the lumps. And so what I've done here is I've incorporated the gelatin with the glycerin before I add the water. There we are. And we might as well go ahead and start heating now. And we'll be back once everything has gone into solution. I think I like this order of adding the components better. It's just a thought. I thought I'd give it a shot, and it seems to work just fine. But we'll see. Well, I'm happy to report that adding the gelatin to the glycerin before adding the water and then heating worked just fine. So we're going to add some food color here. But I noticed that my little drop from before has set, and as you can see, it is just a completely clear dot of mold. I'm going to add some red. Let's try that. Let's make it a strong red. So we're going to go with 3 dots to begin and see where that takes us. Well, it certainly is red, but I'm going to go one more. There we are. How about let's just pour it all out into one. And that way, once it's set, I can pull it off and show you the elasticity of it. And a couple other factors. Alright, so here we are with the big reveal. Or in this case, perhaps we should call it the big unpeel. I don't know, I've gone ahead and I've lifted this one off. But as you can see, it's quite clear. Very stretchy and quite sticky. And here's the red one that I poured. I thought this was just lovely. There we are. Enough for my my little attempt to mold. So there we go, nice and clean. Seems to hold its shape very well. Now, if you're going to use these as molds, let's discuss a couple of options as for mold release. This stuff is very sticky, so anything that you put in here is likely it's going to stick. Unless you take a couple of precautions, I would say that if you're going to use this material for making gummy bears, then perhaps you could dust this with some cornstarch or even some dried gelatin powder. And if you're going to use this for soap molds, perhaps a good option would be to just brush on some glycerin and give it a good coating. So those are a couple of options for you. Now, this material can be remelted and reused again and again. And this is the very thin one here. And it will melt at about 140. If you're going to pour anything into these molds, I suggest that you make it no hotter than, say, 120. Now, when we're cooking this stuff, a couple of things that I did notice, and that is that the smell. It's not great. It sort of reminded me a little bit of like what wet fur smells like. So if you've been around dogs or horses, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, so there we have it. A very kid-friendly mold making material that you can use, and as I said, this can be remelted and remolded. So have fun, and I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. Now, if you like this channel, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. We're moving into the direction of bioplastics next, since this is going to be a very exciting time. Bye-bye.